In Warsaw, only 20% of residents rent housing. In Rome, 25% of residents are renters. In London and Tokyo, 50% of residents rent their housing. In Paris, the percentage of renters is 60%. In New York, up to 65% of residents rent apartments. But Berlin is undoubtedly one of the leaders. It is considered the capital of renters. More than 80% of the city's residents rent their housing, and this is one of the highest rates in the world. Unlike many other countries where property ownership is seen as a sign of success, in Germany, and especially in Berlin, a different culture has developed. Here are the main reasons why this situation has arisen. First, phenomenal protection of tenant rights. In Germany, a tenant is a king. The law protects them so strongly that evicting a person is practically impossible as long as they pay rent. Here, most rental agreements do not have an expiration date. You can live in the apartment for 20, 30, or 50 years. Here, the law on rent increase limitation is in effect. It can be raised by no more than 5% per year, regardless of the fact that rent growth may lag behind inflation growth. The apartment owner does not have the right to enter it without official notice a few weeks in advance and a valid reason. The tenant feels like a full-fledged owner. Second, mobility in the labor market. Germans highly value flexibility. If a job in another area or city offers better conditions, a Berliner will simply terminate the rental agreement, usually with a 3-month notice, and move. Selling your own apartment and buying a new one is a huge expenditure of time and finances, taxes, notary, realtors, that eats up all the benefits of ownership when moving frequently. Third, huge additional costs when purchasing. In Berlin, buying property is an expensive pleasure even before paying for the apartment itself. The additional costs amount to about 10 to 12% of the property's value. Acquisition tax, 6%. Notary and registration in the land register, about 2%. Realtor services, 3.57%. This money is not covered by the mortgage. It needs to be available in hand. For an apartment priced at 500,000 euros, you need to pay about 60,000 euros just for additional expenses. Fourth, responsibility and Hausgeld. The owner in Germany bears full responsibility for the building. If the roof or elevator needs to be replaced in the house, the owner is obliged to pay their share, which can amount to tens of thousands of euros at a time. The monthly maintenance payments for the owner are always higher than the operating expenses for the tenant, since they include contributions to the repair fund. The tenant does not pay for major repairs. This is always the owner's problem. Fifth, the absence of tax benefits for personal housing. In Germany, the tax system is structured in such a way that investment property, which you rent out, is more advantageous from a tax perspective than the property in which you live. If you rent out an apartment, you can deduct mortgage interest and building depreciation from taxes. If you live in it yourself, there are no tax deductions. Therefore, many Germans rent housing for themselves while renting out their own property to others in order to optimize taxes. Sixth, historical and cultural factor. After World War II, the housing stock of Berlin was destroyed. The state and large corporations built mass housing specifically for rent, to quickly provide people with a roof over their heads. 3 generations of people have grown up in rental apartments. For a German, renting is not throwing money away, but paying for quality service and freedom from obligations. Seventh, a conservative approach to loans. In German culture, debt is linguistically and psychologically linked to the concept of guilt, should. Many Germans are extremely cautious about 30-year mortgages. They prefer to invest their spare money in the stock market, insurance, or private pension funds rather than tying themselves to a huge debt to the bank. Eighth, Berlin has long been a city of relatively cheap rent. For many years, renting in Berlin was so affordable compared to buying that people had little motivation to go into debt for 20 to 30 years. Now the rent has sharply increased, but the habit and behavior model have remained. Summary: a Berliner chooses renting because it is safe, flexible, and frees them from the headache of roof repairs or finding a plumber. Although this is a generalization, in reality, millions of people in Germany own their homes. But it is precisely in Berlin that the combination of strong tenant protection, high entry prices for purchasing, and a rental tradition makes renting housing a normal and rational choice for many, rather than a sign of poverty.